Fruit. The strawberry is such a great listener. Their sensual red color, their shape like that of a human heart, and their seeds, worn on the outside as if to say, I have nothing to hide, not even my reproductive organs. There's just something benevolent about strawberries that makes them trustworthy and earnest and deliberate, something that makes them such great listeners. Strawberries are a main staple in the fruit world. As much clout as the apple, the orange, or the banana. A notch above grapes, cherries, and, yes, peaches. I don't really want to frolic with a strawberry. I want to cuddle with it. I want to watch it as it sleeps. Then, I want to cough really loud so that it wakes up and we pillow talk. Just stuff that's on my mind.
I always wanted to learn how to go sailing.
Strawberries are just such great listeners.
Like sail.
They make me want to confide in them.
Something about the ocean.
I want to allow myself to be emotionally vulnerable in their presence.
It's like having it with Keith really well. I don't know how a vampire Keith's got. But no, because it's not even like you're dancing, you're just moving around.
I don't want to eat strawberries nearly as bad as I want to tell them secrets and cover them in chocolate. Yeah, I want to eat them. But as they are,
I guess that's not really the point anyways.
I could talk to a strawberry for hours on end, just spilling my guts like a Russian in World War II.
Metroid would have to be
They're just such great listeners.
Rygar, that's another great one.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's ridiculous. In your mind, to you, it's absurd to talk to a strawberry. And you're right. It's not like I'm talking to a coconut, that thing sealed off from the world behind rustic, purposed, impenetrable walls, hoarding its meat and its milk. If I share with the fruit, I want the fruit to share with me. But sharing is not the coconut's thing. Not until it's filled with rum. Then it opens up. The pineapple, you say? I won't even turn my back to a pineapple, let alone share an intimate personal detail that could one day be leaked to the press. Look at the pineapple. Looks so smug and confrontational, what with its insidious exterior of spikes. But it's all a show. Those prickly parts are really limp and leafy, a ruse made to hide what it truly is. Just another behind-the-scenes schemer, just another half-wit, wholly embittered, overzealous plutocrat. Anyone who puts their trust in pineapples deserves treachery. There's more insidious looking fruits to be sure, but none as powerful and well-heeled as the pineapple. And you know as well as I do, don't even start a conversation with a kiwi. It's almost like too eager to listen to your problems. I mean, it just wants an in. The kiwi just wants to talk about its own problems. Yeah, the kiwi's one of those. It thinks everything it has to say is so interesting and insightful. It's codependent. You can never get just a kiwi flavored candy. It's always kiwi dash something flavored. This feeds its issues. Don't open up to a kiwi. It just wants a shoulder to cry on. It won't ever offer a shoulder of its own. Because it hasn't one. But the strawberry is such a great listener. Back when I was younger, when I was naive and in college and searching for answers, I fell in with the peach. Pretty hard. Hell, I idolized it. I thought it was deep. I loved it not because of its fleshy color, its firm, slow curves, its fuzzy and almost follicled skin, I thought its humanity hung not like a badge to be worn on the outside, but rather a thing nurtured and cradled deep within its breast. I am, of course, speaking of the pit. Sure, a peach looks pretty innocuous from the outside, looks like an upbeat, happy fruit, living only for the sake of life itself. Hence our expression, things are just peachy. A peach looks like it's never endured a hard day's night, never encountered manual labor, and truth be told, it hasn't. But the physical world is only the breaking surface of a vast ocean, one of unimaginable depths and unforeseen craggy trenches in which modern existence hides and resides and harbors all those thoughts and feelings and withheld desires that, over time, accumulate and constitute who we truly are. I remember the first time I ate a peach. The very first moment that my tongue pressed against its surface, my tongue pressing against that peach, feeling as though it was pressing against my tongue, touching it, pressing against another tongue, which was which neither here nor there. I was tasting it, and yet there it was, tasting me. And there we were, both pressing hard, both saying no, no, no. But I felt the concession of conquest, the exhilaration when my top two front teeth pierced the skin. At the same time, my cuspids reached up and punctured from below, and whatever resistance the peach and I still had left was shattered. Both thinking yes, 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 saying yes, 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 feeling yes, yes, yes. And I felt the cool juice pool up in the extremes of my lips, and I realized that my extended jaw was sliding back. And there I was with a chunk of that sweet, slippery solid falling backwards onto the inner tip of my tongue. That sweet vapor rolled into my nostrils, and I didn't know it then, but I was a thin layer of slick, wet meat away from the truth, from its innermost being. My teeth were closer to its pit than they had ever been before. And I ran. I was sort of a prude back then, and I resented that feeling of being lost in that moment, and I resented that feeling that I couldn't understand, and that feeling that I couldn't control, and resentment is born of and breeds lost love, so I threw the peach down and I ran away, and days later still I was wiping my chin with moist towelettes, still feeling that sticky stuff and wanting it off of me, and weeks later still I smelled that immediate scent, that fragrant thing as pungent as minute one, and I was convinced that somehow, some way, some juice had made its way up in my nostrils and had dried there and was not fading. Not ever. So I found myself looking into the mirror, trying to scrub my sinus with Q-tips, themselves drenched in incrementally powerful cleaning solutions, stopping just short of concentrated Clorox, and still the smell would not stop, still. The inside of my nose being so close to my brain, never before had I considered their close proximity an exasperating factor of anything. Never before. That. I mean, all the while, I felt slightly defeated, challenged, and bested. My bluff had been called. I considered myself a pretty liberal-minded individual, and I wondered if that moment in time hadn't exposed me, if my real emotions hadn't betrayed my maybe false true self. So, one night, I wound up alone and hungry and scrounging for something edible, but there was only a peach. I don't know how it ended up there, but it was there, and so was I. And there we were, me, hungry. It, the thing to forever vanquish that very specific hunger. Me, believing that hunger was something to be conquered rather than held at bay. It, ready and willing to die trying. Next thing I remember, I'm sitting there, face to face with the true face of the peach. The pit. I'd never felt such a common bond with any other fruit. The peach, too, had internalized such secrets, such strife, such resentment towards and alienation from the outside world. The pit. It had taken only opening up, getting past that surface, past all the aesthetic superficialities the fruits have to embody in order to be considered edible. I stared at that pit for over an hour. It looked to me exactly what I expected to find deep within myself after so many years lived. So many words unspoken, or maybe at most muttered. So many thoughts and feelings bottled in and packed away, tighter and tighter. insecurities and wants and pure frustrations, all shoved further back inside myself so as to be unceremoniously concealed from both strangers and confidants alike. Thoughts and feelings that I thought were to be indulged only in moments of solitude. Pain, anxiety, self-doubt, IOI, elation, each new thought coming and me thinking there's no more room, but somehow packing it in, somehow through shuffling or rearranging or brute force, somehow making it all work, keeping it all contained again and again. All thought, dense matter driven inward through fear, that irreconcilable gravity nurtured in this atmosphere of chaos. I wondered if, like some distant red giant, I too would eventually implode upon myself under my own weight, burning so much limited energy just to maintain that dangerous milieu. Each moment was one spent more than earned. Destiny holding for me only to be a brown dwarf or a neutron star, emitting what light, what heat it had left. Something only described by people in context of what it was, not ever really being what it is. I'd never felt such a common bond with any other fruit. The peach, too, had internalized such secrets, such strife, such resentment towards and alienation from the outside world. It looked exactly like I thought it would. All those things we humans hide and hold forever within. Things that age and harden and never really go away, never really decay. Memories, brown, hard, harsh and roughshod, with sharp and soft edges alike, seeds lacking logic and direction, wrinkled and barely alive, still living with always the intention to give birth to something new, but never understanding how, and always doubting if. This is what it looks like. Withered hope. The pit of the peach. The physical manifestation of human strife and of woe and of our embattled sense of self. The peach, to me, was deep. That was college. I thought introspection was reality. I believed in questions as much as answers. Then I graduated, got a real job, started paying taxes, and my hairline began to recede, and my bones began to ache, and my eyebrows began to feel heavier. And I finally experienced death. Firsthand. Losing that which means most loses meaning altogether. So that was the end of that.
Nothing's bugging. Like, sometimes I just can't get out of my head. Like, if I start thinking
Now,
about, like,
I just want to chat with a strawberry.
0 AD or 0 BC.
No pretenses about mutual understanding or probing the depths of existence or dragging truth out from the dark corners of our universe, kicking and screaming. No, just pillow talk. Because life happens on the surface. The strawberry understands that without overthinking it. It just gets me, The strawberry is such a great listener.